Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and enduring partnerships in modern history. Special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States. How did two countries that started off as a colonial power and a rebellious upstart become the world's most powerful allies? Britain was the world's industrial powerhouse, and America was a vast, resource-rich nation. They needed each other economically. British investment flowed into the burgeoning American economy, helping to build railroads and industries. At the same time, a shared language and similar legal and political systems made communication and understanding much easier than with other nations. This cultural and linguistic bridge was a crucial, often underestimated, foundation for their future partnership. But the real turning point, the moment that truly solidified the alliance, came in the 20th century with the World Wars. When World War I broke out, the US initially remained neutral. However, as the war dragged on, cultural ties and strategic interests pulled America towards the Allied cause, siding with Britain and France. American entry into the war was a decisive factor in the eventual Allied victory. This shared sacrifice on the battlefields of Europe forged a bond of camaraderie and mutual respect that had existed before. Then came World War II, the crucible that truly defined the special relationship. Before the US even officially entered the war, President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Prime Minister Winston Churchill were in close contact. The Lend-Lease Act, for example, was a monumental program where the US supplied the UK with vital war materials, essentially becoming the arsenal of democracy. Churchill himself famously coined the term special relationship to describe the unprecedented level of cooperation. The two leaders shared a personal chemistry and a common vision for defeating tyranny. Faced with a common ideological enemy, the UK and US led the formation of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This military alliance became the cornerstone of Western defense for decades. This intelligence sharing, known as the UK-USA Agreement, or Five Eyes, also including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, remains one of the most secretive and significant aspects of their partnership to this day. They stood shoulder to shoulder through major Cold War crises, from the Berlin airlift to the Cuban Missile Crisis, their united front being a critical deterrent to a wider conflict. Of course, the relationship hasn't always been perfectly smooth. There have been serious disagreements. The Suez Crisis in 1956 was a major low point, where the US opposed a British-led invasion of Egypt, forcing a humiliating withdrawal. This event starkly demonstrated the shift in global power, with the US now clearly the senior partner in the relationship. Later on, the Vietnam War was deeply unpopular in Britain, causing friction. More recently, the 2003 invasion of Iraq, which the UK joined under Prime Minister Tony Blair alongside President George W. Bush, was highly controversial and strained public opinion on both sides of the Atlantic. Despite these bumps in the road, the core of the alliance has remained remarkably strong. Why? It comes down to three key pillars. First, shared values. Both nations are fundamentally rooted in ideals of democracy, individual liberty, and the rule of law. While they may interpret these values differently at times, This common ideological ground provides a powerful unifying force. Second, military and intelligence integration. The level of interoperability between the US and UK armed forces is unmatched. They train together, use compatible equipment, and can deploy side by side more effectively than any other two nations on Earth. Their intelligence sharing, as we mentioned, is deeper than any other partnership. And third, cultural affinity. From Shakespeare to Hollywood, from the Beatles to Beyoncé, the cultural exchange between the two countries is constant and immense. They watch each other's TV shows, listen to each other's music, and read each other's books. This creates a familiarity and an understanding that softens the edges of political disagreements. Looking at the world today, the special relationship continues to evolve. In an era of new global challenges from the rise of China to climate change and international terrorism, UK and US find themselves once again needing to rely on each other. So, from enemies to the closest of allies, the journey of the UK-US relationship is a testament to how shared values and strategic interests can overcome a history of conflict.